The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed, and the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately, and every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump.
Which side are you on?
So we wanted to talk a little bit about Trump attacking the UAW. He did this at the Republican National Convention. This convention, as I alluded, it included on the first night the first ever address of a Teamsters president to the Republican National Convention, Sean O'Brien, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. It also included speeches from scab Hulk Hogan.
Boo.
Boo. Yeah, Hulk Hogan bad. Hulk Hogan very bad, because if you did not know this, he is responsible for the destruction of a union campaign that very seriously, that was very serious, that Jesse Ventura, former governor of Montana for the Minnesota for the Green Party, or just an independent.
You know, I can't recall. I can't recall. But
interesting character, but
an interesting character.
Interesting character, but real, he gives a crap a little bit at least.
He was involved in organizing this drive, and
he was like the leader of the campaign to unionize wrestlers at the WWE. And if that sounds strange, it really should sound strange actually that the WWE does not have a union. The WWE and the UFC are the only professional sports to not have a union, right? Or do boxers have a union? I don't know.
I don't believe boxers do as well either. I mean, particularly such an individualistic sport. I guess it's a tougher hoe. But
But WWE in particular, you should really take some time and read about working conditions for wrestlers. Even ones that are famous and you would think make a lot of money, actually don't make that much money. And then they're also classified as quote unquote independent contractors, which is obviously absurd. Like the idea that Rey Mysterio is not an employee of the WWE is just silly to even say and, be serious about it. They have to schedule their own travel. They have to get their own flights. They have to get their own hotels. They have to, get their own health insurance, which is a huge thing. They don't have any retirement plans, none of that kind of stuff. And so anything other than the one or two at a time people like Hulk Hogan are really not doing great. Some of them are okay, but they're not doing great. And they take home something like 20% of the revenue that they generate, whereas athletes in sports where there are unions take home something like 50% of the revenue that they generate, which sounds much more fair than 20% of the revenue that you generate. And so Jesse Ventura was leading a very serious union campaign, and Hulk Hogan snitched on him to Vince McMahon. And it came out later that Hulk Hogan, for the WrestleMania that this all happened around, made more that year than all the other wrestlers combined. And so, why would he want a union? But not only why would he want a union, it's fine to have this or that opinion on the union, but the idea that you would go and tell management about a union campaign, knowing that it's going to negatively impact people that you work with every day, and that really your life is in their hands and their life is in your hands, like literally, in an occupation like the WWE. It is just so gross. And so Jesse Ventura has been on multiple podcasts, and somebody asked him at one point, would you ever see your friendship with Hulk Hogan rekindling? And he said very, very flatly, no, absolutely not. I have to trust people to be their friend, and there's no way that I could trust Hulk Hogan after that. And Jesse Ventura was fired from the WWE. So very, very gross. So RNC, included speeches from scabs and things like that, including Donald Trump, also a scab, and crossed an IATSE picket line in New York. And as the scab from Florida, Donald Trump, gave his speech, one of the things that he did was attacked the United Auto Workers and the UAW president, Shawn Fain. Let's listen to this clip.
And right now, as we speak, large factories just started, are being built
across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country, no tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing, and we're going to bring it back fast.
Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Just break news that the United Auto Workers have, in a socialist communist fashion, taken over the production and management of American auto companies. Is that because that's what would be implied by saying the UAW has moved, or should be ashamed for moving production to Mexico? That seems to be the implication. So have I missed like a major news story where the UAW has taken over the operation and production and management and ownership of the American auto companies?
Yeah, I missed that too. I was not aware.
You're not aware of it either.
I was not aware. I thought that those were still corporations that had boards of directors and investors.
Owned by the capitalist class, not the workers.
Correct.
That was your understanding still?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That was mine too. So I was very confused when, when Trump said that.
Not sure what the hell he's talking about.
So maybe it could be, if we have missed that news, I would love to see that news. I think that workers should have control. And so, look, if I've missed that news, give us a call, 844-899-TVLR. Let us know, where we can find that, because I would love to read it and interview somebody about it. But, as far as best I can tell, it is not the case that American auto workers have taken over the American auto companies. And so therefore, production decisions are still made by management and the owner class, and so management is the ones are going to be the ones responsible for any production moves to Mexico. That's still my understanding, and so maybe Trump was just mistaken. Maybe he read like a wrong report, or it's possible that he was lying. I don't know if how much we. That we would believe things like that Trump would lie. That kind of seems outlandish, but that's a possibility. It's like physically possible, right? That he lied,
Sure.
I mean, those are kind of the options that we have right now. Either Trump is wrong, or we're wrong, and we missed the takeover of American auto companies by the United Auto Workers, which, we would be happy to be wrong about, or Trump is lying. So those are kind of the three options that we're left with. But of course, so that's kind of where we're at there as far as auto, production being moved to Mexico. But it's also, worth knowing that there have been more automotive manufacturing jobs created under the Biden administration than under the Trump administration. As a matter of fact, that's kind of the situation that we have here in the year of our Lord 2024. Additionally, Trump was attacking the, quote, EV mandates, which is, really kind of, again, not exactly what's going on. There's a push for electric vehicles from the federal government. There's investments and incentives and all of this kind of stuff that is actually not hurting American automotive manufacturers, but is actually helping them to the tune of tens of billions of dollars, is kind of actually what we're looking at. We're looking at big fat checks in the, what is $10 billion? What is that? Is that like 12 figures or something? Like huge checks from the federal government to American automotive manufacturers for the production of electric vehicles. And, so if we go into a Trump administration and Trump takes away all of those electric vehicle, incentives and investments from the state and everything like this, that is actually going to hurt American automotive manufacturing, specifically at Volkswagen and Volkswagen, from the famous Volkswagen company, and Blue Oval, which is Ford's thing, both of those in Tennessee, both benefiting from electric vehicle and emission reductions incentives from the federal government. Additionally, there are similar things going on in Georgia with Bluebird in Georgia making electric buses. There's all sorts of these jobs that are being created in large part because of federal investment. And so if you take all of that away, actually what you're going to do is you're going to kill jobs. And this is all taking place in the context of, as Trump, rightly mentions, China is running away with the EV market. They're going leaps and bounds ahead of American automotive companies in electric vehicle innovation and production. And so it is very, very important that the state invest and incentivize American automotive corporations to do electric vehicle production, because apparently they're not going to do this on their own, and they need some pushing. And if they do not get that pushing and they continue to lag behind in EV production, then they're going to get completely left behind, and they're going to get completely boxed out of not only, the global market, but also the American market. And we will all be driving Chinese electric vehicles in 50 years when that is basically all that's being produced. And Chinese electric vehicles are so far superior to American electric vehicles. That is the world that Trump would resign us to. So, look, that's all kind of important stuff to think about. And also, Trump, when GM workers went on strike in 2019 while he was president, he didn't do anything about it. When Alabama workers at a Gadsden tire factory were out of a job in early 2020 while he was still president because Goodyear moved production to Mexico, he didn't do anything about it. When GM closed the Lordstown plant, he didn't do anything about it. So there's just all of these cases where Trump talking the talk but not really walking the walk on bringing factory and manufacturing jobs to the United States. And so, you really should kind of be skeptical about what's going on with Trump and his attacks on the UAW. And it is actually very funny that Shawn Fain really does seem to be living in his head rent-free. Just almost every other speech that Trump mentions, that Trump gives, he's talking about Shawn Fain, and he alludes to Shawn Fain. And so, it's very funny that Shawn Fain has gotten in his head this much.
So much so that he thinks he should be fired.
That he thinks he should be fired.
The democratically elected union president doesn't work like that, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't get to just call the boss and fire.
Right. Yeah,
I know he's used to doing that on TV, firing people.
Right. Shawn Fain is actually the manager. He can't call the manager because Shawn Fain is the manager. So
yeah, so that's always hilarious, right? When people call for democratically elected leadership to be fired. Yeah, that's called organize. Yeah, you just organize and you win next time, or push them out, or recall, or use whatever methods are available. But that's a boss for you, right? That's their first instinct, is to say, we should fire somebody I don't like.
Right. And so, in conclusion, here is a clip of Shawn Fain on Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is a scab. Donald Trump is a billionaire, and that's who he represents. If Donald Trump ever worked in an auto plant, he wouldn't be a UAW member. He'd be a company man trying to squeeze the American worker. Donald Trump stands against everything we stand for as a union, as a society. When you go back to our core issues, wages, retirement, health care, and our time, that's what this election's about. This election's about who will stand up with us and who will stand in our way. Those are the questions that will win or lose this election and will decide our fate. Those are the questions that will determine the future of our country and the fate of the working class.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.